So today's topic's interesting. Linda Evangelista, former supermodel, says the fat reduction procedure called CoolSculpting has left her disfigured. And when I looked at the pictures, I would agree with her. Sad story. She did this CoolSculpting, which for those of you who don't know is essentially freezing your fat. Freeze the fat, kill the fat, your liver clears it out, right? Clears it all out. So she did this procedure. It's been done millions of times. Fortunately, she started noticing the area she did it on. Instead of shrinking the fat bulges, they were getting bigger. They were expanding. She did it in her chin, down in her thighs, in her bra area. In some of the pictures you can see, the bulge around the bra area. Instead of shrinking, they grew and then they got tough, right? Hard, real hard. Then started getting numb. Yeah, she's launched a lawsuit against the company. Has CoolSculpting, $50 million lawsuit, quite a big lawsuit. Apparently she was still doing work because that's why her lawsuit is $50 million, because she said, if you pay attention to pictures, clearly the bulge, it's like it doesn't match the rest of her body, right? It just looks so big. Her face has had some disfigurement as well. And this procedure is not cheap. Granted, she's most likely wealthy, but still, a couple of sessions are going to range from $2,000 to $4,000. Insurance doesn't cover it because it's cosmetic surgery, right? It lessens the amount of fat by an estimated 10 to 25% in the targeted areas. Now, so what exactly happened to this lady? What's the risk of CoolSculpting? Similar with a lot of these type of weight loss surgeries, right? But specifically, it's a mouthful, paradoxical adipose hyperplasia. PAH for short. Let's go with PAH, right? So instead of shrinking the fat expands, which is obviously not what you want. So the fat cells, instead of you destroying them, the fat cells are resisting and they actually get bigger. So what can you do? Pretty much all you can do is lipo after that, which kind of defeats the purpose of getting CoolSculpting, right? Because now you're going to pay more money. It also costs thousands of dollars to suck that fat out that you thought you were killing with your CoolSculpting. The PAH thing, it's obviously pretty serious, right? It's estimated it only happens to, I think, 0.0051% of the people. There was a study on this, though there's some disclaimers with this study, right? The doctors in there do have some conflicts of interest. So I'll read. Doctors Jalian and Anderson, not me, serve as investigators for clinical trials sponsored by the company over CoolSculpting. Doctors Avram and Anderson serve on the medical advisory board for the same company called Zeltiq Aesthetics. Dr. Anderson's employer, Massachusetts General Hospital, receives royalties for licensing intellectual property to Zeltiq. So lots of conflicts of interest going on there. Never seen any drastic results with any fat freezing procedure. Is it worth the risk? Well, statistically, it is worth the risk. There's a very small chance from everything I could read. Like I said, even that 0.0051%. The issue is the bigger problem is not the risk of the surgery. It's what's going to happen after the surgery, right? Because if you're still living a bad lifestyle, then you're just going to get fat again. And you just drop a couple $1,000s and you're going to get fat again. It can be similar to lipo in the sense that fat could come back in other areas, the untreated areas. The body is smart, right? The body doesn't know what you're doing to get rid of this fat, but the body knows it lost some fat, so to speak. So it will want to get it back. So if you go crazy on your bad eating habits or lack of exercise, the weight is going to come back, except it could come back in some worse areas. And there is a small chance that lipo won't actually solve your problem, which is what happened to the supermodel in this case, right? She did lipo, and you can see from the pictures that she still is messed up. While that rarely happens, the lipo not working, clearly it didn't work. From what I can tell, there's lots of other lawsuits out there, right? So far, nobody has won that I could tell. Sue them, they fight. These kind of companies are pretty good at fighting these things. Lots of stuff in the fine print, the disclaimers, what have you. They're more likely to be dismissed, or the people gave up and dropped them, or it's just some ongoing litigation. And lawsuits are pretty common, right? There's a personal injury lawyer called Luisa Harasova. She specializes in cosmetic procedure cases. And she says companies like this are notorious for aggressively and expertly defending themselves in court. These companies make billions, and litigation is just one of their expense line items, pretty much. Very experienced. They got multiple law firms working for them, and they know the more popular product is, the more lawsuits are going to come their way. This is this is the number one reason people do it. It's due to the non-invasive nature. It's safer than going under the knife, right? No anesthesia, risk of bacterial, getting an infection. The recovery time is quicker. An hour, you're done, right? There may be some soreness and stuff like that, but for all the people I know that have try this kind of stuff, didn't really feel much discomfort, let's say. So from that perspective, it is significantly quicker. And this is why products like that are really popular. That's the number one reason they're popular. Whether it's CoolSculpting or EM Sculpt, there's a variety of these different modalities, let's say. So from that perspective, I agree. It's definitely better from that perspective. Aches and pain, you could have like some itchiness, some skin tenderness, a little bruising. Some people know diarrhea. I mean, it's not long lasting, right? I didn't experience any of those things. And to be honest, again, that place I went to, guy said that wasn't a common thing there either. I think it's probably, it wouldn't surprise me if the people that have a lot of these issues are people that are more probably on the heavier side. It wouldn't surprise me with that. But all the bruising, swelling, all of these things, they're all temporary, right? Temporary skin discoloration. I mean, I had redness in the air, but yeah, couldn't find any cases of any dramatic problems on that, basically. Yes, that's exactly what it is. So spot reduction, you can't do spot reduction from working out. You don't know how much crunches you do. Abs are made in the kitchen, not in the gym. So, you can do a gazillion crunches, but if you're, you need to have your body fat low to show your abs, quote unquote. They're muscles just like any other muscle. People this stuff helps the most are people just trying to target a spot. So maybe you're fit, you're in shape, and you got a little bulge by the bra, which is where that lady, one of the spots she tried to touch up, or a little love handle type thing, then it can be quite effective. I mean, I noticed the difference when I did it there. And it wasn't the CoolSculpting brand, but they're all pretty much the same. That's another thing. You're paying extra money for CoolSculpting, and there are newer versions of it as well that doesn't take as long as their procedure takes. And a lot cheaper. But it has been used on over 8 million people worldwide. So I'd say it's pretty safe, I would say that. As to how effective it is, remember I said earlier, 10 to 25% fat reduction in the targeted areas. So it's not magic, right? I mean, I tried something similarly myself. It wasn't CoolSculpting. CoolSculpting is the brand, right? You have these other form of cryolipolysis type devices. And I did notice some improvements on hard to reach areas at my back, like love handle type areas. But I remember the gentleman who owned the company telling me that, the typical person comes in there, he didn't think it was super helpful for them. The people that helped the most, he said, were people that already lost a lot of weight, who are already slim, lean, and they just wanted to get some little touch-up areas, so to speak. But if you have a ton of weight to lose, this stuff is, for sure you'll take your money, but he didn't think it was super effective. And then you run the risk of the whole loose skin. If you're pretty big and you suddenly lose a lot of fat, then you got the loose skin thing going on. So you're going to spend more money for like a tuck or something, a couple $1,000s more. Now, there are a couple people with certain kind of medical conditions that they recommend you don't, but they do go through that. So those people would be, they wouldn't end up in getting CoolSculpting or any other kind of cryolipolysis, let's say. The key thing is get more bang for your buck doing something else, as in not CoolSculpting. Diet, exercise. Make that lifestyle change. So I shouldn't even call it a diet. Eat better. Consume less, or less of the bad things, more of the good things. Most people don't eat enough protein, eat too much carbs, eat too much fat. So increase your protein, lower your fat a bit, maybe lower your carbs, it depends. But all the little pain stuff, those things go away. It's not like it's creating nerve damage or anything like that. It's all temporary, Because you are determined to transform your body, you made it to the end of this video. To get more tips about how to look great and feel even better, check out one of these videos you see on the screen. I'm sure you'll enjoy them. So later's my massive. Me I go long now. For those who don't speak Jamaican patois, that's goodbye, my people.